Hi, you're watching the development vlog for Shokin, a multi-platform waitlist management tool soon to be available on Android and iOS. This is Bill from Shokin, and this is week 55 of development. The current status continues to be that the Android and iOS alpha version, the test version of the app, is available and ready for testing on Google Play Store and Apple iOS App Store. The app continues to receive weekly updates on Tuesdays. Last week, the major goal was to tie up the loose ends on the business/accounting side of things. One of the things that wasn't done until this week was the DUNS number. It's an identity number tied to your company that verifies that the company exists and it is who it says it is. Fortunately, 2 to 3 days ago, I did receive an email confirmation saying that my number had been assigned, which is great news for me. This means that in their eyes, I finally exist. In addition to that, one of the other things that I had to do was to open up a business checking account. This, I was told by the accountants that it's necessary to separate your personal and business expenses such that, there won't be any accounting confusion, and also provides the prerequisite for limited liability shielding. And my expenses are racking up now, of course, as you can imagine, as we get closer and closer to test launch. The upstream service providers they really like money, and they really like for their services to be used and for me to pay them. So I have probably half a dozen to about a dozen upstream service providers that I have to dutifully pay tribute to monthly. So anyways, I'm switching all those things over from my personal account to the new business checking account. And by the way, what really surprised me is how long it took to open the business checking account compared to personal checking account. Personal checking account, go to the website 123, click submit, and within 5 minutes you have your account. I sat with the bank clerk, who was very nice, very friendly. I very much appreciated her time for 2 hours, because they needed to do know your customer. They asked me a whole bunch of questions before they were like, "Okay, here's your account." Well, anyways, this is neither here nor there. It's just very surprising to me that this is the case for a business checking account. Anyway, so those two things were done last week. I consider last week a success. Next week, as mentioned, number one of the biggest goals is to initiate the proceedings to convert my individual developer account with Google, as well as Apple iOS App Store, to an organization account. I think I have everything that I need. So I'll start the conversion process. I think it's going to take them some time to actually process the request, just to make sure that everything that I submitted is true. Apparently, fraud is like rampant on their platforms, which I can understand why. It's a place to make a lot of money for the lucky few, and they want to make sure that they only allow in the ones that they want to allow in. So that's goal number one: converting individual membership to organizational membership with the two platforms. The second thing is that I've been thinking about marketing. I've been thinking about the messaging, and it's sort of one of the icky part of developing an app. It's not something that engineers like to touch, because it involves the business, it involves things that are not really coding and stuff. And the harsh reality is that you can make the best product on the planet, but if nobody knows your product, it's as good as you not making it. So I have to start thinking about marketing. And what I think I was spending a lot of time going down a rabbit hole of marketing, of your landing page, of app store optimizations, search engine optimizations, stuff like that. And I think what really surprised, well, I guess it really shouldn't have surprised me, but like, the whole thing is now a science, right? I mean, sure, there's a lot of artistic expressions in those. I mean, it's not a defined path. What I mean by the whole thing is a science now is that everything has a term now. Everything is sort of analyzed and reduced to discrete chunks that you can refer to and optimize further. What I mean by that is, for instance, On your web, I have to have a web page for the product web page. I'm developing an app for people to use, and people like to go to a website to see, oh, this is a, this is a thing. This is a website. He made a website. It must mean the app is legit. So when you go to this app website, when you go to a successful one, you'll see that the top middle, there's a gigantic app icon, some headlines about what it does, and these all have names. This big thing in the middle that you see initially is called a hero. Now, I don't know why it's called a hero, but it's called a hero. And then underneath that, you have trust lines. You want to build trust with your users. And then underneath that, you have testimonials. I mean, we've seen those, right? Like 5 stars, some random testimonials from customers that you cannot verify as a visitor. I've always thought that this is a bit fishy, but it works. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but like stuff like that, it works. And underneath that, you have, oh, right, the big glowy buttons that you have to tell your users to download your app, to subscribe your app, to upgrade. These are called CTA buttons, call to action buttons. This is what I mean by it's all figured out, right? People who made a lot of money or are really good at marketing stuff have all sort of come together, huddled up, and to go, oh, we're gonna call this hero, and then it's got to do this 1, 2, 3. It cannot have more than 5 characters and stuff like that. Anyway, so marketing is a whole science, and I have tremendous respect for those people who do it well, because it's a combination of science and art, right? And I'm just at this point really an outsider trying to get a piece of that and trying to put together my own marketing message and the impression that I will give to my users. And fortunately, I think these videos that I've been recording, mostly for myself, by the way, and I have no idea why I have 60 subscribers. I appreciate you being here. I legitimately do not know why you're here. This is a very interesting journey. It could become a very interesting journey for many, but at this point, it's mostly a very interesting journey for me, myself. And I appreciate it that there are 62, 63 individuals, besides my immediate family members, that are following it, at least to subscribe to my videos. I appreciate you being here. So, what I wanted to say was that fortunately these videos build trust in a very different way. For most customers, my understanding is that they're not terribly concerned how the sausage is made. They love the sausage, right? You can use pink goo and they still eat it. But there might be some discerning customers who would like to see that this is not a fly-by-night operation, that you're going to be there when they actually need you, and that you're an actual human being here located in the United States, helping them in person, if not in person or on the phone, and be able to understand their concerns and help them out and stuff like that. And I think that these videos would give them the trust, or at least give them the idea that I'm real, that I'm here, I'm serious about this, and I'm good at what I'm doing. So it's quite serendipitous that it's been happening for this long. In any case, so the goal next week is to at least come up with the initial version of the website, stuff I want to put on a website, and hopefully I will actually have the website done, even if not in the most pristine condition, but at least in a condition that can be viewed by outsiders. I think I have most of it down. I just need to polish up a few more things before I publish it. I'm pretty confident I can actually get that done quite well next week. In addition to that, of course, I mentioned earlier the transition of the 2 accounts, and on top of that, of course, the continued bug polish, as well as the user interface improvement in the app, which I'm actually getting quite proud of. The app is getting quite polished. There is every day I fix 1 or 2 bugs, and then now I think the app is in a nice state, in a nice condition. Of course, I need more and more users to sign up and test it, to stress test it, to see if I've missed some things. But that's part of the goal of the marketing website, is to actually attract people to come and join. In terms of the product offering, I believe at least during the initial pilot period, I'm my goal is to at least make the service free for the initial onboarding members. I think that's a fair trade. I provide them with a free service, and in some cases, it can be actually worth a lot. The upstream costs that I'm tanking for this test phase is not trivial, and especially, let's say, and especially after I start getting reasonable number of users and traffic, it can get quite hefty. But I think that would be a good question to have. You can't pay for better testers than the actual end users themselves. So I'm willing to tank that. In exchange, they'll of course, use my app and give me feedback, and we can build this thing together and make it useful for not just me as a hobbyist project, but for hopefully the broader community. And as you're aware, the app itself is a waitlist management tool. I mean, if you think about it, it's really for uh, sort of mom and pop small business restaurant places that don't have a dedicated app team to write the specialized software that they'll need for waitlist management. And I myself enjoy a lot of my local joints, and I think it would be really cool one day to see if they actually use my product. And my town is the restaurants in my town are quite competitive, and they have a lot of traffic flow. So I think that they can benefit from this. Anyways, this is a long soliloquy. I've gone out of. I don't have a script. I'm just talking to a camera in my office. Well, this is it for this week. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, and I will see you next week.